We're about an hour and a half from Iowa City. Todd was in the front, I was in the middle, and they were in the back. And the next thing I know, I look up into my rearview mirror and there's no one on the highway. And so I knew something must be going on. So I immediately grabbed my phone and I started calling Bree and I started calling Eli, and they weren't picking up. And so I started flashing my lights to Todd, and Todd just must happen to look in his rearview mirror and see my lights flashing, so we immediately pulled over. We hopped in my car and Todd was driving, and I kept trying to call both of their cell phones, and they weren't picking up.
To be honest, I don't remember much of what happened in the car, and that really drives me insane. It was just such a traumatic situation that I feel like my memory's kind of preventing me from figuring out what it was. I remember Eli telling me that he was really tired. He had just gone to a bachelor party a couple nights before and didn't sleep much. But I remember concretely, like, us being off of the road, like in the grass, and then him overcorrecting hard, like throwing the wheel. And then I remember this like distorting feeling of realizing that the car is flipping and we're not on the road. And then nothing. I don't remember anything after that.
I just remember driving up and Todd just literally pulled into the median, and I jumped out and just took off running because you could see that it was them and it was the truck. I ran over, and by that time, people had already gotten them out of the truck. I'm just screaming, were they still in the truck? Did they have their seatbelts on? And I can remember coming up to them, and poor little Bree was laying along the road, and she just looked up at me, and all she said was hope. And then I immediately went to Eli because Bree had said my name. I went to Eli, and I'm like, okay, we've got to do CPR. We can't just let him sit here. So I started doing CPR.
My eyes were swollen shut, so I couldn't see anything. I could just hear this happening, but I knew it was bad because, it was just, Hope is beside herself, and I remember Todd just kept saying, like, this is bad, like, this is really, really bad.
Back in Iowa City, Alex had been making final preparations, expecting to soon get a phone call to let him know the caravan had arrived.
I looked down at my phone, I saw 2 missed calls from Mariah's mom, and I knew something was wrong because it was a little early for them to get there, and she called me twice. And so I pick up the phone, and, I just hear sirens and her telling me, like, he's not gonna make it, like, he's not breathing, and I didn't know what was going on at the time. And she said that he rolled, like, his car or his truck several times.
And I remember I was line dancing to Footloose, and all of a sudden, Alex runs out into my living room, and he was like, Mariah, something really bad is going on. And so I got on the phone, and I was like, what's going on? And I hear sirens, and there's just a lot of chaos. And my mom was like, it's really bad. And I was just like, no, what are you talking about? What? It can't be that bad. I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea they were coming to Iowa City. So Alex was like, we have to tell her, why that you guys are on your way. And so then I realized that there's going to be a proposal and that they were all coming to see me. And so we just dropped everything and got in our car and left.
I get a call from Mariah, and this is going to be the hard part of the interview for me because the sound of her voice was agony like I hadn't heard before. And so, where are you at? Well, we're driving down the interstate. They're going to the site. And I said, pull over. What exit number are you at? Pull over, let me know. You can't drive. And I was already in the car going with my wife to pick them up and drive them there.
At the time, we didn't know how the severity of it. We just didn't know if he was gone or not. Because on the way there, you're praying, Eli, just patch him up and he'll be good.
I made sure that they got to Mariah's family safely in this time of, you know, unbelievable tragedy, despair, whatever you want to call it. And you're almost handing off Stickley's baby. You're handing off the last baby to her parents. And it was tough.
We get to the hospital and we go in there, and that was like the toughest thing. Because Mariah, I mean, her family, I used to call them the Brady Bunch because they usually, like, I mean, they're the perfect family. You think that nothing's ever gonna happen to them. And so seeing Eli, you know, lying there, it was just something that you'd never want to, you know, happen. And I just remember her mom saying, like, that's not Eli, that's his body. Like, he's in heaven now. You know, he had a skull fracture and he died, like, on impact. It's really hard to explain it. Devastation. I don't know.